I was not ready for this video. To be honest, I'm still not. I sat down 3 times this week to plan it. Made an outline, threw it out. Made another one, also threw it out. And then I just started recording because that's the whole point, isn't it? You can plan the thing about winging it, or you can just wing it. And I think you know which one makes a better video. So here we are. No plan, just me, a camera, something I've been thinking about for a while. There is an entire industry built around making you feel like you're doing life wrong. And it's very good at its job. Wake up at 5 a.m., cold showers, journal for 30 minutes, meditate, and work out all before 8 a.m. And if you're not doing that, you're just sleeping in. If your morning is chaotic, you do not have a 5 year plan written in a notebook, then you're just behind. You're lazy. You are not serious about your goals. Now, look, I understand where this comes from. Structure is real, discipline is real, and there are people who genuinely thrive with systems and routines. And I'm not here to take that away from them. But what I have to talk about is the other side of that coin. The side no one makes reels about. The side where all the planning, all the optimization, all the relentless preparation starts to feel like a cage where you're focused on executing the plan that you forget to actually live inside it, where every decision becomes a calculation and every moment becomes a task. Somewhere along the way, whole thing stops feeling like life and starts feeling like a project you're managing. And you're exhausted, not from doing too much or thinking about doing, from waiting, from feeling to get ready, waiting for the right moment, waiting until the conditions are perfect and everything is lined up and you finally feel prepared enough to do it and actually go and do it. And here's the thing about that moment never comes. It never comes because ready is not a feeling you arrive at. It's a story you tell yourself to avoid starting. Before I go any further, I want to be straight with you. Winging it does not always work. I need to say that clearly because I don't want this to be another video that sells your fantasy. I have winged things before and completely fallen apart. I have shown up unprepared and embarrassed myself. I have said yes too fast and spent the next week paying for it. There have been moments where I walked in with nothing and walked out with less than nothing. And those moments were real and hurt, and I'm not pretending otherwise. But here is what I have noticed. And when I trace back the failures, the real ones, the ones that actually sent me back, they weren't all from winging it. A lot of them were from over preparing, from thinking so hard about something that I psyched myself out before I got there, from rehearsing so many versions of how it could go wrong. And the time the moment arrived, I was already defeated. Preparation gave me an illusion of control. And when reality didn't match the plan, I fell apart. I didn't know how to adapt to it because I've spent all my energy preparing for a version that didn't even exist. So, no, winging it is not the answer to everything, but neither is over preparing. And I think real skill, the thing no one actually teaches you, is knowing when to just prepare and when to just go. And knowing when preparation is serving you and when it's just a fear wearing a productive outfit. What readiness actually is. We talk about readiness like it's a destination, like there is a version of you out there who has done enough, learned enough, practiced enough. And when you have actually become that person, you will be ready. Then you can start, then you can try, then you can put the thing out in the world. But that version of you does not exist. Not because you're not capable enough. You surely are, but because readiness doesn't work that way. Every time you level up, the bar moves ahead. Every time you get better, you can see more clearly how much further there is to go. The people you look at and think they have figured it out, they are standing at the different point on the same endless road, looking at someone ahead of them, thinking the exact same thing. Nobody arrives at ready, they just decide at some point that waiting isn't working anymore. that the discomfort of staying stuck has finally outgrown the fear of starting. And then they go. Not because they're ready, because they are done waiting to be ready. Let me tell you an example. So, my MBA interviews, I had a whole system planned around color graded notes, mock test, schedules, the works, everything. I was prepared, or at least I felt prepared. And then the ones I felt more prepared for busted down. Not barely missed, bombed. Like sitting outside the exam hall after genuinely trying to figure out what just happened. All that preparation, and I still couldn't execute what mattered. And I spent a lot of time thinking it was a performative thing, exams, anxiety, pressure, whatever. But another thing happened. There was one entrance I hadn't really prepared for. I had glanced at it, told myself I'd get it properly done, but never did. Walked into almost a formality. No expectations, no wait, just let's see what happens, right? They called me back. I got in, and I have thought about it for a long time as to why it happened. I think the preparation for the others had become its own pressure. I'd built them so much in my head that the time I sat down, I wasn't taking an exam anymore. I was defending the months of effort I'd put in it. I needed it to work because of everything I'd put in it. And that need, that desperation, it tightens you in some way that's hard to perform through. The one I walked lightly, I was just there, curious almost, no attachment to the outcomes. I didn't care at all. And that looseness, that absence of pressure let me actually think. Let me actually be present in the room instead of my head managing expectations. I'm not saying don't prepare. I'm saying watch what preparation is doing to you. Sometimes it helps. Most of the time it helps. And sometimes it becomes a thing standing between you and the thing you want. Here's another side of all this that isn't about fear or readiness at all. It's just about saying yes. Before you have gone through it, before you have checked it, if it fits in the plan, before you have weighed the pros, the cons, and decided that it makes sense, just yes. And I think we have lost a little bit of that as adults. Everything gets filtered through practicality. Does this make sense right now? Do I have time for this? Is this responsible? And those are valid questions, to be fair. But sometimes a friend calls and says, come out, let's go somewhere and hang out. And instead of going, you calculate whether you can afford to lose sleep, whether it fits your schedule, whether you have things to do tomorrow. And before all that, you have lost a moment. And you've stayed home for a reason that made sense on paper and woke up the next morning feeling a bit less alive. Spontaneity isn't irresponsibility, it's trust. Trust that not everything needs to be earned or scheduled or optimized to be matter of fact. Some things are needed to be experienced. That saying yes to the thing that you didn't plan for is sometimes the most important yes you could say all week. So there was this event. I don't recall what it was for. I don't even remember it at all. There was some people and there was a decent amount of them. And some point in time, they told me to introduce myself. Warming, just your turn. And I had nothing. I was genuinely blank. Like genuinely nothing. My mind went completely blank in that specific way it does when you needed it the most. So I just opened my mouth and let whatever was there come out without trying to manage it, clean it, or say it in a manner that I've practiced, fully expecting to embarrass myself. People laughed, not politely, but actually laughed. I sat down and I genuinely could not tell you what I said. But there is one thing I remember. I was completely in that moment. No part of me was elsewhere. I wasn't monitoring how I looked or calculated how I was landing or trying to stare at somewhere. I was just there, fully, accidentally, completely present. And I think That's what people felt, not the words, but my presence, the presence that I was there in that moment. And it only happened because I had nothing to fall back on. No script, no plan, no safety net. Just the moment and whatever I had in me. The one I come back to a lot. I made a short film in 48 hours from absolutely nothing. No experience, no crew, no framework, no idea what I was doing. Just competition, a deadline, and whatever I could pull together. I wrote the script that day, shot it the next, edited through the night, and I mean the entire night. I don't even remember sleeping, and submitted in the morning after. We won. And I've sat with that a lot because on paper, it shouldn't have worked at all. And I have no business making a film. I didn't know the rules. I didn't know the craft. I didn't know what I was supposed to do or not do. But I think that's why it worked. I had no idea what the rules were, so I couldn't overthink breaking them. I wasn't second guessing every shot because I didn't know enough what to second guess. I was just making decisions in real time, one after the another, because the deadline didn't give me the space to hesitate. And something about that, something about pure, unfiltered making without the weight of knowing how it's supposed to be done, produce something real. Sometimes that a more prepared, more experienced, more careful version of me might have edited out. But that version of me didn't exist yet. So I made the thing, and the thing was enough. I've been thinking about what winging it actually is underneath all of it. And I think it's a decision. It's quiet, private decision that you make before you walk into something. A decision that you are going to be fully present in whatever happens. You're not going to spend your whole thing inside your head managing it. And you trust yourself enough to figure out as it comes. And the trust, that's not naivety. That's not recklessness at all. That's something you build every time you wing something and survive it. Every time you show up unprepared and figure it out anyways. Every time you say yes before you're ready and discover that readiness comes after, not before. You're building evidence, evidence that you can handle the moment that will not break you, that you are more capable in real time than you are in paper or theory. And slowly, the waiting starts to feel less necessary because you have proof now, proof that you been in the rooms that you weren't ready for and found something to say, proof that you've made things that you had no business making and they were real, proof that the version of you who shows up unready is still infinitely more useful than the version of you who shows up not at all. I'm not ready for the most things I do. I wasn't ready for this video. I wasn't ready for the film at all. I wasn't ready for any moments that ended up meaning something. But for a long time, I've thought that was the problem, that I needed to fix it somehow, that one day I'd finally feel ready and the things would start. But things already started. They started every time I went anyway. Every time I said yes before I thought it through. Every time I opened my mouth before I knew what I was going to say. Every time real stuff happened, I was ready. Not in the planning, in the going. If you're sitting on something right now, a video you want to make, a conversation you want to have, something you want to try but keep waiting to feel ready for, I'm not going to tell you it will definitely work out, and I'm not going to promise you it won't fall apart. But I will tell you this: waiting isn't protecting you from anything. The fear doesn't go away when you're ready, it goes away after you have done the thing. Sometimes not even then, but you're still standing on the other side of it. You've already conquered the fear, and that's the whole art. Show up and ready. Say yes before you've thought it through. Do the thing regardless. The rest figure itself out. It always somehow does. Trust that.